how to split your tax credits and rate bands accurately with the aid of our calculator. Splitting tax credits and rate bands between jobs and private pensions if you were paying excessive tax in one of your employments or private pensions. Individuals or jointly assessed couples who have more than one active job or private pension can amend how their tax credits and rate bands are divided. You can divide your tax credits and rate bands between your jobs in any way you want by following the steps outlined in this guide. Splitting your tax credits and rate bands between jobs will not change the total amount of tax you have to pay, but it can ensure that you pay an even amount of tax in each job and get the full benefit of your tax credits and rate bands during the year. This is a step-by-step video for doing this, and especially for those that are not familiar with conducting activities online. By managing your credits in this manner at the beginning of the year means that you will not need to wait until you make an income tax return for that year to get an overpaid tax refunded. And this is the reason I published this video in December and After Revenue updated their system such that PAYE taxpayers can make amendments for the tax year ahead. In this case, this is the middle to late December, and the facility is there now to make amendments to your 2025 tax credit cert so that it will be available to your employer in the form of a revenue payroll notification or RPN for the first pay date of the new year, which in this case is 2025. Of course, if revenue don't make any significant changes to their screens, then this video will remain applicable for 2025, 2026 and the following years. Before you dive straight into the facility and manage your tax 2025 in the PAYE services section of my account that will allow you to do this, let us first know exactly what it is we want to do. To establish this, you need a few pieces of information in advance. 1. Your annual standard rate cut-off point, or the amount you can earn at the standard tax rate of 20%. Your annual tax credits, how much total pay, which is also referred to as gross pay, you expect to earn for each job or pension. We are then going to the calculator we have devised to calculate how much standard rate cut-off point and tax credits we are going to allocate to each job or employment ID, as it is referred to on your 2025 tax credit cert. So let me first direct you to how you can complete all the cells and then give you directions as to where you can find this calculator. These two figures are taken from your 2025 tax credit certificate. These are the figures you take here on this example after all deductions have been made. In this example, the annual tax credit figure to enter in this cell is this one, €621.43. Likewise, the standard rate band in this example is this one, €27,189.80. The number of employment IDs includes your jobs and occupational pensions. It does not include pensions like OAP or widow's pension or any other pensions from the Department of Social Protection. You don't need to include these on this calculator. In these cells, enter the last 4 characters of the ID number as shown on your tax credit certificate for each employment pension. This is so that you will be able to allocate the credits and standard rate cut-off point to the correct employments on your Revenue My account. In these cells, enter the estimated income of the ID number of the job or pension. If you are not sure and you think it will be similar to 2024, then put in that figure. You don't have to be exact. It is only an estimate or your best guess. If you only have 2 employments, it is important that the figure in this cell is 0. If you only have 2 or 3 employments, it is important that the figure in this cell is also 0. As all the cells from here down are calculated based on the information provided above. These are the figures you should allocate to each job on your Revenue My account, which we will go through shortly. Before I go on to tell you where to locate this calculator, please allow me 30 seconds to introduce myself. This is Pádraig here from Payroll Matters in Ireland, the YouTube channel, Facebook group and social media platform for all PAYE workers and their employers to ask, get answers and find out about pay, PAYE, income tax returns, public holiday entitlements, universal social charge, pay-related social insurance, pensions, redundancy, week one basis, statements of liability, tax credits, employee and employer statutory rights and obligations, and a myriad of other work and payroll related issues, all free of charge. The Facebook page and Facebook group are called Payroll Matters in Ireland, and new members, followers and subscribers are always welcome. The calculator can be located on the BPPM website, which stands for Boyle Payroll Project Management, www.bppm.ie. On the home page here, hover over Payroll Matters in Ireland, and on the drop-down menu select How To and Step-by-Step Guides. On this page, select How to Split Tax Credits and Rate Bands, and that will bring you to our calculator. Scroll down through the text to get to the calculator. Enter the figures applicable to your situation as we went through earlier, and take a screenshot of the result for entering those onto revenue in just a moment. To split your tax credits between employment IDs, there is a facility in Manage Your Tax 2025 in the PAYE Services section of My Account that will allow you to do this. In Manage Your Tax 2025, you will see how your tax credits and rate bands are currently allocated. Details of taxpayers' tax credits and rate bands are shown by clicking the Edit above where the employments are listed. You can split tax credits and rate bands between jobs and private pensions to avoid overpaying tax in one employment and having to wait for the end of the year to claim it back. Where a taxpayer has more than one job, the standard rate, cut-off point and tax credits applicable to each job is shown. Details are provided of how the tax credits and rate bands are divided between each job. There are two tabs, PAYE and USC, and they can be accessed by clicking on the relevant tab. The PAYE tab gives details of a taxpayer's standard rate, cut-off point and overall tax credits. Edit how your tax credits and rate bands are divided. Taxpayers or jointly assessed couples who have more than one active job can amend how their tax credits and rate bands are divided. A PAYE taxpayer or jointly assessed couple can amend how their tax credits and rate bands are allocated by clicking on the Divide Tax Credits link on the navigation bar here. Taxpayers and jointly assessed couples who have only one active job will not have this link on the navigation bar. Divide your tax credits and rate bands. To ensure that taxpayers' tax credits and rate bands are allocated across different jobs, they will be asked to estimate their gross income for each job and their spouse or civil partner's jobs where appropriate. This is to ensure that taxpayers pay the right amount of tax during the year and no underpayment or overpayment arises. Where taxpayers are unable to estimate their income, they should click on the Unable to Estimate box. If taxpayers have made changes to their record and or to their spouse's or civil partner's record and they are unable to provide an estimate of their income for at least two of their jobs, they will be asked to select their main job, that is, the job with the highest income. The adjustments to their tax credits and or rate bands will be made against this job. If a taxpayer provides an estimated income for one job only, the adjustments will be made against that job. Taxpayers who have made no changes to their records but want to make changes to how their tax credits and rate bands are divided must provide an estimate for at least two of their jobs, if relevant. A reallocation of tax credits and rate bands will only take place amongst jobs where an income has been provided. Taxpayers will have the option of not accepting the allocations done automatically for them. When this happens, they will be asked how they want their tax credits and rate bands to be divided. Divide tax credits and rate bands equally. Taxpayers with 2 live employments will be given the option to divide their tax credits and rate bands equally between both employments. Where a taxpayer estimates their income, they will be given the revenue recommended allocation, but they will also have the option to divide equally. Where the taxpayer cannot estimate their income, the divide option will then be provided. If a taxpayer opts for an equal split, this request will process automatically. To change this, click Edit above where the employments are listed. Enter your estimated gross salary from these employments. Your credits and rate bands will be split based on these figures. Select Proceed with recommendation if you are happy with this allocation. Proceed with different recommendation if you would like to make additional changes. This is where you can use the allocations as determined with our calculator to split your tax credits and rate bands accurately and in the most efficient way to suit your personal circumstances. For illustrative purposes, I have used these figures in the calculator to test against revenue. Once you enter the figures as shown here, then the figures as recommended by revenue should match the figures as indicated for the allocation of tax credits and rate bands to the jobs as indicated. If they don't, then simply click on Proceed with a different request and enter the figures as shown here onto your Revenue My Account. This is the option we at Payroll Matters in Ireland recommend PAY workers to take in all cases, as it is based on your personal circumstances. You may get an error message when allocating the credits or standard rate cut-off point for the last job ID number, as it might be off by a few cents or €1 or so. You can accept the alternative once it is not any more than €1 or 2. If it is a lot more than €2, then you may need to recheck your figures. When you are happy all the figures are correct after you have edited your allocations of tax credits and rate bands, as shown down here on the left, you can proceed to the next stage of reviewing your entries. Don't be worried about this screen saying you have not claimed any tax credits. These relate to new tax credits. Submit to revenue by ticking the box and sign and submit. The next action to take place is the issue of a revenue payroll notification, or an RPN, by revenue. After a submission has been made, an RPN, or revenue payroll notification, will be made available to your employer. The revenue payroll notification is the employer's copy of the tax credit cert and shows, amongst other things, the employee's total tax credits and tax and USC cut-off points for the year. A copy of the tax credit certificate, TCC, will be available to view by employees in My Documents, which is also available in My Account, usually within a few days of the submission being made. It may be longer during periods of high activity within revenue, like the end of the year and the beginning of another, where it can take a couple of weeks for your revised tax cert to issue. The tax credit cert sets out a customer's tax credits and tax and USC rate bands for the current tax year. The information provided by the taxpayer, in addition to the information held on revenue's record, will determine the appropriate tax credits and rate bands. Before I leave you for now, can I ask you to hit this subscribe button and also to turn on YouTube notifications for this channel so as you can get an alert every time we post a new video guide, as we have many more helpful pay, income tax and other work related guides and videos to bring you. And go on, hit that subscribe button. Go on. See you next time.